Welcome to FBB Forum. My name is David, and this podcast is dedicated to amazing muscle ladies. I'm very pleased to welcome the beautiful IFBB Pro Women's Physique competitor, Mara Ruckman, to the podcast. Mara earned her pro card at the 2021 NPC Universe, and she made her pro debut just a few weeks ago at the Atlantic Coast Pro Show. And Mara is also mom to two amazing daughters. Welcome, Mara. It's really good to see you and glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you. And I do want to make a correction. It was 2022 Universe where I got the pro card.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2022. Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Now, I was curious in terms of getting started in bodybuilding. Did you have an athletic or a sports background before you started?
Yeah, I've been athletic most of my life. I've been involved in sports from soccer at a very young age. And then high school or middle school, high school, I played volleyball, basketball. I did like weight training and, stuff like that in some classes. And so I've always been athletic. And so, yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. So that kind of gave you a good background to get started in bodybuilding, probably, I bet.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't go on to college to play sports, but after college, I got into weightlifting, specifically powerlifting. So I think that started in 2010. My friend started interning at a gym, and he started doing these boot camp classes. So of course, me and a couple girlfriends joined, and that's pretty much when it started to be more of a serious thing, because before then I had no idea what I was doing in the weight room. So that specific gym was more targeted to like powerlifting or specialized in powerlifting. So that's kind of where I built my foundation for weightlifting and competed in powerlifting for a little bit, and then started my bodybuilding journey.
When did you do your first competition in bodybuilding?
Bodybuilding, my very first was 2018. I had my youngest daughter in 2016, and I was trying to get the baby weight off on my own. Wasn't really being successful at that, but I was still going to the gym, and I was, doing more like powerlifting style training. And then there's a couple girls at the gym who I looked up to, and they went into bodybuilding. They got into bodybuilding, competed, and I was just like, I always admired people who did that, but I was like, this is somebody I know personally. Like, if they can do it, that like surely I can do it. So that kind of inspired me to hire a coach and work towards, initially getting my baby weight off and building the muscle to work towards competing. So
That's terrific. That's very cool. That's awesome.
yeah. And then I got hooked ever since.
That's great. Yeah. And now you got your pro cards. That's pretty awesome. I bet it was exciting.
Yeah, my very first show was figure. I competed figure.
Mm-hmm.
So and then my second show, I did figure, but also crossover in women's physique, and definitely was more successful in women's physique than I was in figure. So
That's great.
I decided to stick with that, and it was a lot more fun. Like, I feel like, with figure, I mean, you can still show your hard work, but with physique, I just, you have like all the different poses and you have the routine. And I just felt like I had a lot more fun doing the physique. Yeah, I wasn't complaining. I was sticking to it.
Yeah, you can show a lot more creativity doing physique and with the posing routine, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And pick your music and everything. I think that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you have a fitness role model when you first started?
The only one that comes to mind is like Nicole Wilkins, a classic, especially with being in figure. I looked up to her, um, and then I guess Dana Lynn Bailey, she was pretty popular at that time too. So
Yeah.
those are probably the ones that I looked up to, just because I was just getting started in it, and social media wasn't that big of a thing back then. So those were the two, that stuck out to me the most, I think.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. No, they're DLB, she turns up the most, I think, on this podcast. She's inspired
Yeah,
everybody, I think.
right.
She was pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I was curious, when you first started competing, were you kind of nervous up on stage? It was kind of, and do you get nervous these days?
That's the funny thing is I'm actually a very quiet, shy person. I don't like public speaking, to getting in front of crowds. Like I'm perfectly fine being behind the scenes type person. But when it comes to bodybuilding, it's just something, I don't know why. Like I mean, of course I think it's natural to have nerves to get up there, because you work so hard and you're just getting in front of judges and being critiqued and everything. I mean, that'll naturally bring on some nerves. But as far as like getting up in front, like it, like I don't know, I just don't think about it, and you
Hmm.
just go up there and you just show what you've been working towards, and it's just like, here I am.
Yeah,
So not super. I mean, it never really. I never hesitated to get on stage. So
that's great. I just think you're getting up there like in a very small piece of clothing. It would be a little
yeah,
nerve-wracking, I would think.
yeah, you would think, but I think with how much work you put towards your physique and getting to that point, you're ready to show it off, and you're
Mhm.
proud of what you did, and you just, yeah, you want to show everybody like, this is what I've done, and you're proud of it.
Yeah, definitely. I understand for sure. And you put all that hard work into it, you might as well show it off.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, you mentioned 2022 NPC Universe for your pro card, but I bet that was pretty exciting though to get your pro card there. And what was your experience like there? Were you surprised that you got first place in your division and stuff?
I was.
Hmm.
um I honestly, I love bodybuilding and I love the competitive side, and I I didn't go into that show having any expectations, and honestly, I didn't expect to win and get my pro card, but it happened, and of course that's a great accomplishment. So from there, I was like, well, if I got my pro card, I guess I'll just continue and pursue this and just see, where it takes me.
That's great. Yeah. And you already knew it was kind of an expensive sport, so you knew it wasn't a surprise.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's kind of the one of the downfalls of it, but that's okay.
I know I think it's one of the few sports where pros are probably losing money to compete, unfortunately, but
Yeah, hopefully one of these days I'll, get in the top and be able to cash out some money.
yeah, I hope so too. I think you will. Yeah.
I, I hope so. I'll keep working towards it. So
Now, like we talked about, you made your pro debut at the Atlantic Coast in Fort Lauderdale, but what was your experience like there? Did you enjoy it?
I did. The whole experience was amazing, and everything went so smooth, and I really had fun with it. And I had a pretty long prep. So at that point, I was just so anxious and excited to just be there and get on stage and just show, like, all the hard work that I put towards it. And
Hmm.
um, me and my coach, like, I added a lot more size from the previous year. And so, it was improved like conditioning and everything. So I was very happy with my look and what I was presenting. And, and to me, as long as you're coming out better than your previous show, and I think we definitely made some really good improvements. So
Mm.
yeah, I was ready to show it off.
That's terrific. Yeah. I think you had posted recently that you had felt you looked really confident. And yeah, you really did look kind of radiant on stage. I think and it probably helped your judging too, that maybe the judges placed you higher because you just looked so good on stage.
that's what I was hoping for. I was like, well, if anything, I'm gonna go out there and, because I think I don't know if other competitors struggle with this or not, but I think it's easy to struggle with knowing if you really belong on the pro stage and how
Mhm.
you're going to stack up to all of those other amazing competitors. And, when, when you see the lineup and you see like Natalia there and all the
Mhm.
other top level gals, like it's intimidating, but, for being my first pro show and with the women who competed, I mean, I was very happy with, the placement and um, but I have some work to do, and so you'll see me on stage again at some point.
That's terrific. Yeah. No, I think I think you did a great job, and I thought you really stood out for your pro debut. So uh,
Thank you. I
good job.
appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Now, I was curious, do you like to bring your family and your daughters to the bodybuilding contests? Because it's always good to have a cheering section in the audience.
It is. I have so my very best friend was there, and then another good friend of mine was there as well, who has helped sponsor and provide some funding to get on stage. So um, it was great to have him there. As far as family goes, sure.
Um, so let's pick up where we left off.
Okay.
In terms of oh, you said you had some friends and family that came to the show?
Yeah, more friends. As far as family goes, my daughters, um, they're 7 and 9 years old, so they're still fairly young and
Yeah.
require, um, they're getting a little bit more independent, but they also require a lot of me and
Yeah.
attention from me. So, and my family, I mean, they're super supportive of me competing and stuff, but I don't think it's something that they would go watch. They did watch me on the live stream. So, I mean, that meant a lot to me. So they're very supportive. And but as far as like my daughters at this age, you have to be kind of like as low stress as you can, going up to the show. And right now I just feel like um, you know, primarily I didn't want to take them out of school
Mhm.
for the show. And then secondly, yeah, I just, as of right now, in a couple of years, they would love to come to the show and watch, but, they are very much a part of the process. And,
Mhm.
it is fun. The older they get, the more they understand a little bit more. And, they get excited and they love the suit with the sparkles and,
Mhm.
they love to see the pictures with mommy all like made up and, so it's fun sharing it with them. But, eventually I would love to take them to a show. They did go when they were like young, but they don't remember. They went to my very first show, but they were
Yeah.
quite young then. They don't remember it. But
Oh
so yeah.
yeah. I bet they're super proud of you though.
Yeah, they are. And they're my biggest fans and supporters, of course, so
Yeah. That's so
yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. No, that's always, and it's always good to have a cheering section, I think, at these because sometimes, you go in the audience and especially it surprises me like when a pro comes out and there's just like silence in the audience. It's like,
Yeah.
where's their cheering section? No, they need a
Right.
cheering section.
Yeah, no, it is fun. I could hear my friend cheering out there and my
Mhm.
coach was there as well. So, I had a couple people there that were there to support me and so that's great.
That's awesome. Very good. Now, I was curious, did you get any feedback from judges on where to improve your physique?
I did. I think the feedback was pretty clear cut, simple, but the coach or the head judge told me that I did have an amazing shape.
Hmm.
Um, The only feedback he had for me was to get some wider lats,
Sure.
and he said 5% more conditioning.
5% more conditioning. I see. Yeah.
5%.
Uh-huh. That's very specific. Yeah.
Yes, I know. So, of course, I mean, whenever I stepped off prejudging, my coach immediately was like, all right, your legs, we're good on your legs. We can hit those like once every 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
But upper body, we're going to hit upper body hard, and
Mm.
because we need to increase some size there. So lats is the main focus to
Okay,
get those a little wider, but overall, more chest, shoulder development, arms, and all of that. So
that's terrific. Very good. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I could see a little bit more conditioning and yeah, wider lats, but yeah.
yeah,
But you looked really good on stage, I thought.
thank you. Yeah, so we will get to work and come back more improved.
Very cool. Yeah, but it's kind of cool for your daughters to see when you got the tan and the glam going on and yeah.
Yeah, whenever I came back, they were like, "Oh, why are you so tan?" I'm like, "Well, you have to get tan to get on stage." And it's funny because like a couple, I co-parent with their father, and so it's like whenever I pick them up from their dad's like, "Mom, you still have that tan on you. When is that going to come off?" And I'm like, "It'll be there for a little while."
That's
So they
cute.
constantly, comment about it, but
Uh,
it's fine.
that's cute.
Yeah,
Now you mentioned you have a prep coach. Who is your coach?
Matt Burzacott.
Oh, very cool.
He's a Brick Walkers coach too.
Oh, really? Oh, very cool. Oh, yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Brooke Walker's great. Yeah.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, and the reason I came to him is, for Brooke, to be like an Olympian level athlete. Whenever I saw her transformation pictures, I guess if you want to call it that, from previous Olympia to the Olympia she um, was under his coaching, for that off season and everything. To me, like, she had a lot of great improvements, and I was like, wow, like if Olympian level athlete can make that much improvements under a new coach, I was like, then that's who I want
yeah.
to help me improve. So
Hmm.
that's primarily why I seeked him out.
How long have you been working with him?
Since well, it's funny. He told me we had a phone conversation. Like I reached out to him last year in November, and he told me he was like, coincidentally enough, like I was at the Atlantic Pro Show when we had a phone conversation about to see if we would be a good fit for each other. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
that's pretty neat. So,
Uh-huh.
anyways, I started under his coaching program and everything in December of last year.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah, he's done great work with Brooke for sure. She's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So we put in the work and had a pretty good off season. I mean, his first comment was, "We got to build those legs." So
Uh-huh.
we built those legs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Very cool. And do you have a posing coach too?
Yeah, I initially went through Brandon Ray, which he is amazing.
Hmm.
Like the attention to detail is it impressed me. Um, and then also I kind of wanted a little bit more just hands-on posing. So I went with Kim Chizevsky,
Oh,
Nichols.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
former Miss Olympia, right?
I hope I didn't
Yeah.
butcher her last name, but yes, so she is local. So I decided to hire her, and we just have hands-on in-person posing, and we worked on a routine together, which I didn't get to perform, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
okay.
Uh-huh.
I'll just save it for next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. Was really fun experience with her, just because she's a legend, and but
Yeah.
also she kind of let me freestyle my routine, and then she would critique and tell me like, okay, let's do this and change things up a bit. So it was it was like a collaboration, I guess. But what was the most fun was a lot of it was just like, like I created it myself, but she also did as well, with help fine tune things. So it was fun. It was a great experience. She's
Wow.
awesome.
That's incredible. Yeah, she's quite the legend in the sport too. She's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she's a kind person. So
Yeah, that's great. That's really amazing you got to work with her, I think. Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
And I'll include their Instagrams down below in the comment section if people want to check them on. Yeah.
Great.
And I was curious, what would you say is the toughest aspect of competition prep for you?
Um, the toughest is trying to juggle everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
being a single mom and working, I have a full-time job. So just juggling, getting cardio in, training in, posing and then in addition, I'm a very hands-on mom, and I told myself when I got into bodybuilding as a single parent, if it ever got in the way of me being a present mom and um that it just wasn't worth competing. So,
Mm-hmm.
or worth, yeah, being the competitive side of bodybuilding. And so it's tough sometimes, but I don't limit. If my daughters want to go out and do stuff, like we go out and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I might
Yeah.
be struggling on the struggle bus, like, just low energy and hungry and all of that. But, you just got to push through and try to have the best attitude I can. And, I don't, I'll take them out for ice cream. I'll take them out, if they want donuts. And, of course, like I limit that stuff with them, but, they're kids. So I have to treat them every once in a while. But,
Mhm.
it's a choice I made to compete. It's not their choice. So I'm not going to um, limit them living their life, and
Mhm.
keeping them from enjoying everything. So I try to be very present with them. And it's there there are times it's difficult. And I'm not saying like I'm perfect. There are times that I'll say, you know what, we're gonna watch TV tonight on the couch.
Mhm.
You can play on your tablets, whatever. Like I just need, to rest tonight. But
Mhm.
for the most part, yeah, that's probably the most difficult is just trying to juggle everything.
Do you find it hard to cook for them, cooking like yummy kid stuff, you know?
And no, surprisingly enough, it's not
Mhm.
because, I think you just have to have the mindset that you're a competitive bodybuilder and you stick to your meal plan. And, over time, it's all your mentality, I think. And, over time, those things like just don't tempt you because you're just used to not doing it. I mean, I would rather work towards something to be my very best at it than have some mac and cheese,
Mhm. Yeah, I
I'll stick to
understand.
my chicken and rice or whatever. And what's funny is a lot of times they ask to just eat what it is I'm eating, and
Oh
they
yeah,
love, yeah, they love tilapia, and actually I'm going to cook that tonight for them. And
nice.
so yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think you just lead by example, and
Mhm.
they love to eat the vegetables and the rice. They'll ask to eat plain rice, and so it's funny to me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's nice. That's
yeah,
something I kind of instilled with my daughter. She's almost 18 now, but just being an adventurous eater, and she loves Thai food and Indian
yeah,
food, and she likes just different kind of flavors. I was kind of proud of her for that, for
yeah,
being adventurous, because a lot of kids
right,
are not.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's great, and I know they are starting. My oldest, she loves sushi, so I'm like, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, my daughter does too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I was curious, do you kind of have a hard time dealing with that transition between competition shape and off-season shape? And I know you just finished a competition, so you're kind of going into off-season mode now. But I think a lot of ladies kind of go through kind of a body dysmorphia. But how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think it's natural. I think it's harder on us women. Men, I feel like it's more acceptable for them to just get, I don't want to say fat, but just get big and nobody really comments on it. But
Hmm.
for women, if we gain weight, I mean, people will start commenting, and it's so I feel like society's standards, we have to like stay within a certain shape or whatever.
Yeah.
But um, I think early stages of bodybuilding and competing, it was difficult. But that's another thing that you kind of have to change your mindset is to accept the fact that, being stage lean isn't healthy. You have to put on body fat, and
Mhm.
yeah, you're going to be softer. The lines are going to disappear, but it's all part of just loving the process throughout, you know, like competing and getting competition stage lean, like loving that process. But you also have to love the process afterwards as well,
Mhm.
with gaining weight and all of that. And I've learned over time it's easier to stick within your meal plan and not try to binge everything that you've been craving during prep. And
Mhm.
so I think doing it gradually helps too, not to just completely blow it out of the water after you compete. So I
Yeah.
think as long as you're able to like maintain that and gradually increase the weight, then it's easier to deal with, I think.
I understand that. Yeah, definitely. Um, and I don't think you can't really improve unless you go through an off-season mode too, I think. So I think it's an important part of the process.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's so true. And that's my top off-season weight, which I'll probably make a post about this if I'm brave enough. But I got up to 197 pounds. And I mean, that was sticking to my meal plan. My coach was feeding me, like, it was the most amount of food I've ever eaten in
Uh-huh.
any off season. So I was so satisfied with the food that I was getting. Like, I wasn't eating off plan or anything. And
Uh-huh.
I got up to 197, and it was getting pretty uncomfortable.
Uh-huh. I
um,
understand.
and it was like I accepted myself. It's not that I really had a hard time with that, but it was difficult. Like I do remember there was times like if I had something to get dressed up for, I would like go try on dresses, but I just didn't feel like anything looked good on me because I was like, I was heavier and
Hmm.
bulkier and stuff. And that was difficult. But I mean, like I said, you just have to accept that's part of the process.
Yeah.
And that's my coach explained, like, men put on a bunch of weight to have to increase muscle. It's no different for females
That's
to do
true.
the same thing. So yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, thankfully, I have a great coach that kind of helps put things into perspective to where you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What was like your stage weight at Atlantic Coast?
I think I woke up morning of was like 148. After like meals and stuff, I think my top weight was like, I didn't weigh myself like right before I got on stage, but it was somewhere around the 150s.
Okay, cool. And
Yeah,
how tall are you?
I'm 5'6".
5'6". Yeah. So you're
Hmm.
taller than some of the ladies, or quite a few of the ladies, probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
Very cool. Um, Now, I think I saw on the list when you did Atlantic Coast, but where do you live, and do you kind of have like a supportive bodybuilding community there? You mentioned Kim is there, which is great.
Yeah. Springfield, Missouri is the area I live in. I live in a town like right outside of it, but yeah, Springfield. And it's not like it doesn't have like the greatest bodybuilding community. There are a few competitors around here, a couple pros, like a handful of them, but aside from that, it's not anywhere like if you go to like Dallas or those areas,
Hmm.
it's not huge.
Sure.
There's St. Louis Pro, but St. Louis is like 3.5 hours away. And then, the Chad and Kim, they have a couple shows that they put on locally. So, I mean, we do have some bodybuilding support around here, but it's nothing like those bigger cities.
Is that where Julia Weitzel is from, or is she in Springfield,
Yes.
Illinois? Oh,
No, she's here. Yeah. Her and
oh
her
yeah,
husband.
yeah.
Yep.
She's amazing. I really like her a lot, and she got to the Olympia this year, so that's somebody to
Yeah.
look up to.
That's a huge accomplishment. So she should be very proud of herself for that.
Yeah, definitely. She looked great too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Now you mentioned about family earlier, but I was curious, are your parents and siblings supportive of your bodybuilding career?
They are, at first, I think my parents were a little bit I think it was just very unknown to them.
Hmm.
Um, but so there was a period of time my parents were in a rental home. They moved here, got in a rental home, and then they're in the process of, like, their lease went up and they're in process of building a home. So
Mm-hmm.
with me just being in the house by myself, having my girls like part-time, they just moved in with me for the time being. So until their house got built. So during that time, I did go through a prep, and I think I think them seeing like how hard I worked towards it, like how much commitment goes into it, and the discipline with the food, and waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do cardio before my daughters woke up and all that. Like, I think they gained a little bit more respect for it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny because they would, our family, we sit down, have family meals for dinner and everything, and my
Nice.
mom would set a plate for me to eat, but eventually that plate got taken away because she realized, okay, she's not going to like eat with the rest of us. I
Yeah.
would still sit down at the table with everybody, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't eat dinner, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've, like I said, they watched the live stream and everything, so I feel like they have come a long way from the beginning, and
Hmm.
um, I it meant a lot to me that they watched the live stream, and who knows, maybe one day they will come to a show.
That'd be
We'll
great.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about that, like with parents and like seeing their daughter up on stage in a bikini. It's like, yeah, a little awkward, you know?
Well, and I do come from, like, my parents are missionaries,
Oh,
and
wow.
so yeah, Christian family. So yes, standing on stage in a bikini is not quite something that most of the, he was a pastor, missionary, everything. Not something that probably most pastors and stuff are like proud of. But he jokes around, is like, next time you get up there, can you put a little bit more clothes on? So we joke around about it, but like I said, I mean, they're not judgmental about it at all and super supportive. So
That's terrific.
yeah.
Well, I think Zoom is telling me we're almost out of time, but I wanted to thank
Okay.
you so much for your time, and wish you the best for next year too. And hope you get in a good show and do really well.
Thank you. Let's hope so. I'm gonna work hard towards it and hope everything lines up correctly and to allow me to get back on stage. So
Yeah, maybe, yeah, top 10 so you can do your routine too. That'd be nice. Yeah.
yes, I'm hoping for first call outs. That would be amazing, but we'll see.
Yeah, that would be the best. Yeah.
It's
Thank you,
okay.
Mara. I'll get this posted relatively soon, but I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
All right.